Janet, assuming that the Supreme Court rules in favor of the right to marry, are you concerned that all other LGBT issues will then fall from America's consciousness?
No, I think that it's been the flagship issue for the LGBT community, but it only helps just a portion of the LGBT community. I'm looking forward to the day when all different kinds of families are recognized, of course, but I think that there's other dire daily access issues. Specifically, you're talking about trans people, the violence that trans women, specifically trans women of color, face. I know just in LA alone in the past 3 months, there's been 4 murders of Black trans women, and I think that that's something that's...
There is a lot of violence, right?
Oh, there's tons of violence. And I think so much of it is linked to the idea that women are not valued, people of color are not valued, and trans people are often invalidated within our society. So when you throw that all into one person's body, there's a lot of targeting that comes in that space. And so I think that we need to have a national outrage over these bodies that are often no one's really protecting it.
I thought, now maybe I'm wrong, but I thought the violence came from because the transgender person didn't tell the guy about the past, and then the guy kissed her or something, and then found out, and he was like, "Oh, now I'm a homo."
No. A lot of it is just based on street harassment. If you're walking down the street as a trans woman and a guy catcalls you, and that level of violence that any woman kind of deals with on the street just through verbal violence, it escalates when you discover that you're trans. Men then get upset.
How did that discovery happen?
Just through, someone could just look. You know, I don't know how people read people how they discover that someone's trans, but this happened in Harlem just last. Maybe there's some kind of essence that one gives off, but I don't really know how to unpack how cisgender people tend to look at trans people. But I know that in Harlem last year,
I could never tell looking at you.
Well, yeah, well, that's a label. Thank you, but that's a level of that. Well, you know, thank you. But that's just
it's a compliment.
Well, that's something that kind of it enables me to go into spaces without having to be checked, without having to deal with violence and harassment.
Right.
But that's not the reality for a lot of trans people, and you shouldn't have to look like me in order to have a level of safety in our culture.
But if you were dating someone, say, I mean, would you tell them right away?
Well, I've been dating people since I was 16 years old. I'm engaged now. I put a ring on it. But
you know, girl.
Okay, let's not do that.
See how hip I am? I know these modern phrases.
But I think it just matters on the level of intimacy in the relationship. If someone I'm just going to have coffee with, no, I'm not like, yeah, Janet. But, you know, if we're...
Well, now you're famous, but I mean, if you were...
Well, yeah, now it's completely out of the bag.
It's out of the bag.
Yeah, cool.
All right.